Hello everyone, this is Opuru Mandal, and in this video I am going to talk about the question patterns UGC asked in today's morning shift examination, and I am going to analyze especially the questions from paper 2 of English literature. So especially after talking with some of my juniors and friends, I gathered this information and I found that the questions were from surface level. Most of the questions were from surface level, and especially it was informative type questions, and there were very little conceptual questions, and the questions were based on chronology, matchmaking, like this. So let's first analyze which type of questions were asked from the British literature. So from British literature they asked questions from John Bunyan's works, and told to arrange the works chronologically, and there were questions from restoration plays, and there were questions from matchmaking type questions were from William Shakespeare's tragedies, and also there was one question regarding the adaptation of William Shakespeare's play and a particular play, and there were questions from Thomas Hardy, T.S. Eliot, Matthew Arnold, and there were chronology of Dickens' works, and they asked a question from Goldsmith's Vicar of Wakefield, and there were questions from Robert Burns' negative capability, and works of Thomas Carlyle from Victorian period, and there were questions from Theatre of Absurd, and especially from Harold Pinter, and also questions were from kitchen sink drama, Angry Young Men generation, and there was a particular reading comprehension, especially a poem of Philip Larkin. So these were some of the questions from British literature, and most of the questions were based on chronology and matchmaking. And in the second portion there were some questions from Indian writers like Kamala Das, Kamala Markandeya, and Kalidas' work, and they especially asked many questions from world literature like Australian writers like Patrick White, E.D. Hope, Canadian writers like Canadian writer like Atwood, and African writers like Derek Walcott, Adichie, and they especially asked the name of their works, and they told to match the works with the writers, and they also asked that in which country which author belongs. So this type of matchmaking and chronology type questions also were asked from world literature. And from literary terms there were questions on epic theatre and cyberpunks, and from literary criticism they asked matchmaking from Plato, Aristotle's works, and from there were questions from Pope's Asian criticism and Biographia Literaria. And from literary theory there were also very less conceptual based conceptual questions, and many questions were based on information, and they asked publication years of most popular works like works of Roland Barthes, Michel Foucault, and many questions were asked from new criticism, psychoanalysis, Russian formalism, eco-criticism, and there were questions from structuralism, and also the particular theoretical terms like thick description. So there were questions on theoretical terms, works of many theoreticians. So these were some of the information type questions from theoretical literary theory also. And from cultural studies they also did the same, and they also asked one question like full form of CCCS, that is Contemporary Center for Contemporary Cultural Studies, and other terms related to it. And from English in India, from this portion they asked questions from Macaulays Minute and Wood's Dispatch. And from ELT they asked that what is second language, or what is second language acquisition, this type of questions they asked. And from research methods they asked what is research method and what is research methodology. So these were some of the questions I gathered after talking with some of the candidates. So from this pattern I can say that they are changing their patterns of asking questions in every exam. So previously there were many questions based on concept and many deeper level questions, but in the morning shift most of the questions were from surface level and information based questions. So I'll suggest to all the students who appeared in this shift's examination that analyze your level of preparation, analyze your level of performance, and then try to find out that in which areas you are weak and which areas are your strong point, and try to think, try to understand the psychology of the question setter. Try to understand that sometimes they asked most of the questions from chronology, matchmaking, and sometimes they asked most of the questions based on conceptual based questions. So try to mold yourself, try to prepare yourself in the two formats. First format will be conceptual based questions, and second format will be information based questions. So try to prepare yourself for these two types of questions and try to cover the main areas they are asking questions. Download the previous year papers, especially the online examinations from December 2018, and try to analyze that which authors are important, which authors are not so important. You don't need to read everything, just try to figure out the main areas from where they are asking questions. And one thing I'll tell to everyone, that many of you may think that you will not qualify this time, or many of you may think that what will happen when the result will publish. So I'll suggest you that cracking UGC NET or cracking any competitive examination is like a journey. So enjoy the journey, prepare yourself, figure out your lacks, and just give your best. One day you will definitely achieve success, because you know there is no substitute of hard work. So just be hopeful and just give your best. Every time you appear, one day you will achieve bigger success, one day you will achieve the JRF. So this was in today's analysis.